All right, let's dive in. You might think the holidays mean things are slowing down, but in the world of football, it's a different story. Today, we're taking a look at a guide for all the action happening on December 24th, 2025, specifically from a bettor's point of view. Let's see what it's all about. So while most people are thinking about last-minute shopping, the sports world is absolutely buzzing. We've got huge group stage matches in the Africa Cup of Nations, some really important games in the Asian Champions League too, and even knockout rounds in the Turkish Cup. Yeah, it is a surprisingly packed day of football. Okay, so with all that going on, how do you even begin to make sense of it if you're looking to place a bet? Well, that's what we're here for. We're going to break down this guide for the day's games and really get into its core strategies and the thinking behind its recommendations. First up, the guide kicks things off with what it calls the most straightforward play, just identifying the heavy favorites. These are the teams it sees as having by far the best shot at winning their matches. Now, before we go any further, you gotta know this term, banker bet. What is it? Well, think of it like the foundation of a house. It's a pick that's considered to have a super high chance of winning, and because of that, the potential return, the odds, are usually pretty low. It's the cornerstone. And here are the guide's four bankers. It's pointing to Algeria and the defending champs Ivory Coast as really strong home favorites in AFCON. It also highlights Burkina Faso for just their sheer quality, and Boluspor over in the Turkish Cup. And those odds you see? To put it simply, a low number like 1.21 suggests a really high chance of winning. It means you'd only win 21 cents for every dollar you bet. Safe, but small return. Okay, but picking winners isn't the only game in town. The guide's second strategy kind of flips the script. Instead of worrying about who wins, this approach is all about the total number of goals scored in a game. It's a totally different way to look for betting value. And a guide breaks this down into two different flavors, really. You've got your safer, lower risk bets on one side, and then your more ambitious, higher value picks on the other. Let's start with the safer ones. So these are the lower risk ideas. Over 1.5 goals just means you're betting that a match will have at least 2 goals in total. That's it. It doesn't matter who scores them. The guide flags these particular games because it sees things like cup mismatches or heated derbies. And the logic there? Well, the idea is that in a mismatch, the better team could score a bunch, and in a derby, that intense rivalry can lead to mistakes and goals for both sides. All right, now we're ramping things up to the higher value picks. The bet here is on over 2.5 goals, so you need 3 or more goals in the game. You can see the odds are better, and that's because it's just a tougher mark to hit. The guide specifically mentions Al Nassr's attack as ruthless, and suggests some of these other matchups could turn into some seriously wild, high-scoring affairs. So we have the favorites, and we have the goal bets. Now for the grand finale. How does the guide suggest we put all of these pieces together to chase a bigger potential payout? And that brings us to the ACA, which is short for accumulator. An ACA is one single bet that bundles a bunch of individual bets together. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Every single one of your picks has to win. If even one of them fails, the whole bet is gone. It's the definition of high risk, high reward. The guide lays out a pretty clear recipe here. Step 1, you start with that solid foundation, the 4 banker bets we talked about earlier. Step 2, you sprinkle in a few of those safer over 1.5 goal predictions. And step 3, you package the whole shebang into one single accumulator bet. And here's why you do all that. According to the guide, by combining all those individual bets that have pretty low odds on their own, the total odds multiply. This creates a situation where the potential return, if you win, could be 5 to 8 times your original stake. That's the appeal. Okay, let's pull back for a second and just recap the big picture here. This guide basically lays out a 3-part framework for how you could approach the day's football action. So, to sum it all up, strategy 1, you can play it safe and back the bankers, those heavy favorites. Strategy 2, you can ignore the winner and just bet on goals, either going for the safer over 1.5 or the higher value over 2.5. And strategy 3, you can combine a bunch of these picks into an ACA to really try and multiply those potential returns. And we're going to end our breakdown of this guide with its own final piece of advice. Before signing off, it makes sure to include a really crucial reminder for everyone: bet responsibly. So there you have it. And it kind of leaves you with a pretty interesting question, doesn't it? Beyond just who wins and who loses, how does having a personal stake in the outcome, no matter how small, actually change the way we experience the drama and the spectacle of a game? It's something to think about. Thanks for joining us.